There are some extremely exciting games on the way in the next couple of months, including a Day 1 Xbox Game Pass Ultimate release that I've been psyched for since 2021. Here is a full rundown of everything we've got to look forward to in February and March. Each month, the Idea Xbox team picks 6 indie games that they believe are bona fide bangers. Basically, if you see a game in the Indie Selects collections, you know you're in for a good time. To mark the 2-year anniversary, they're selecting 6 standout indie titles from across 2025 to add to their anniversary collection. Why don't you tune into our stream on January 30th to see us play the games that Idea Xbox chose? On top of that, they're adding 3 sweet new Indie Selects dynamic backgrounds to customize your home screen with, and they're bringing back the massive Indie Selects Anniversary Sale. The Indie Selects Anniversary Celebration kicks off January 28th and ends February 10th. Star Sand Island is a cozy life sim that lets you befriend a capybara. And I've got to keep talking to you now, even though I know you're presumably now totally preoccupied with thoughts of capybara friendship. I know the feeling. I've been daydreaming about it for weeks. This beautiful China-inspired slice of country living lets you leave the hustle and bustle of modern life behind to focus on raising animals, growing crops, and reconnecting with nature. Skate, scoot, and sail around the island, making friends and fending off the occasional ancient monster. Star Sand Island lets you build a whole new life for yourself, and it begins on February 1st. Dragon Quest VII has been reimagined with an art style that makes you want to just go around pinching everyone's adorable little cheeks. Oh, so cute. And this isn't just a surface level glow up, the legendary JRPG story now branches out according to your choices. And the pacing has been sped up so you can get right into the action. Meanwhile, the classic aspects like those enticing turn-based battles have been carefully preserved. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined arrives on February 5th, but you can actually start playing right now thanks to the free demo, with all your progress carrying over to the full game once it launches. Time and space are tearing apart, monsters are everywhere, you used to be dead, but now you're sort of not, and also maybe you're in love? Things don't have to make sense in Romeo is a Dead Man, they just have to be really, really ridiculously cool. The latest third-person actioner from Suda51 is every bit as unhinged as we've come to expect. Hack and slash your way through enemies, then use their blood to power your special moves. Plant seeds and grow little zombie monsters to help you out in battle. Tune your weapons to make them stronger. Play a live-action cooking mini-game, then get back to chopping up the bad guys. Ask no questions, embrace the total lunacy of it all, and you'll have a great time when Romeo is a Dead Man arrives on February 11th. The third Yakuza game gets a shiny new remake and a brand new story expansion on February 12th. Yakuza Kiwami 3 lets players enjoy the deeper combat and more detailed visuals of the modern Yakuza games while battering their way through the early chapter of Kazuma Kiryu's story, while Dark Ties gives Yoshitaka Mine a shot in the spotlight. I guess you either die a villain or live long enough to see yourself become the hero of your very own DLC? Just to sweeten the deal, if you register for a Sega account, you can snag a free DLC that lets you dress Kiryu up in Ichiban's iconic red suit. Yeah, fashion Kiryu. Not content with giving us 2 little nightmares, Tarsier Studios are coming back with another great big one on February 13th called Reanimal. This horror puzzle platformer sees a pair of siblings trying to make their way to safety through a world which is, you guessed it, completely terrifying in every conceivable way. From the grimy visuals to the creaky croaky sound design and the simply awful things scuttling around in the shadows, every aspect of Reanimal has been designed to chill you to the bone. Whether you play it in co-op or with an AI partner, you'll be very, very glad that you don't have to go through it alone. On February 13th, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can let their guns do the talking all over again in High on Life 2. Did you get that joke? Double meaning. It's funny. There's never a dull moment in the life of a cosmic bounty hunter, and the sequel to Squanch Games' hilarious FPS will have players taking part in murder mysteries, hunting down space billionaires, and trying to steal a particularly famous hat. Along the way, you'll get a bunch of new alien weapons to try out, plus an extremely sweet new skateboard to help you get around faster and impress onlookers with your cool skateboard moves. I feel like you're just here for the skateboard. Styx, Blades of Greed sees the world on the brink of all-out war between humans, orcs, and elves. Which is a bad state of affairs in general, but a lucrative opportunity for a sticky-fingered goblin with a crew of like-minded individuals and a very fluid sense of property rights. You'll need to carefully plan out each heist, figuring out where the guards and traps are located and what kinds of weapons, skills, and strategy will be required to avoid them. There are loads of different ways to approach each situation, from using mind control and cloning powers to befuddle your foes, to just jabbing them with something pointy and then running away really fast. The old faithful jab and run. So, if you're ready to go goblin mode once again, Styx Blades of Greed arrives on February 19th. The future of multiplayer storytelling is morally fraught and extremely damp. At least if Tides of Tomorrow is anything to go by. Arriving on February 24th, this extremely innovative game has players trying to survive on a polluted ocean planet. But here's where things get interesting. Your actions are tied to the player who came before you and the one who comes after. So if another character offers you their last bottle of potentially life-saving medicine, saying yes means that they'll have nothing to give to the next poor schmuck. Sucks to be them. The end result is a game where we all live and die by not just our own decisions, but the decisions of the people we're sharing this watery world with. Almost like this game is trying to make a sort of point. 2026 is shaping up to be a banner year for Resident Evil fans, with a brand new game and a brand new movie on the horizon, which hopefully makes up for the zombie-infested nightmares that we've been having for the past 30 years. Arriving on February 27th, Resident Evil Requiem brings Leon back into the fold along with a new protagonist, FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft. Switching between the pair, players will be investigating a hotel that seems to be plagued by zombies, mysterious deaths, and one very persistent monster. And I hear the continental breakfast is rubbish too. Coffee Talk Tokyo will be serving up another warm, comforting mug of conversation sim action on March 5th. And if you're in the market for a free sample, there's a demo available right now. Like the previous two games, Coffee Talk Tokyo puts the player behind the counter in a chic little coffee shop in a fantastical version of the modern world. As you whip up drinks for your customers, you'll get to hear all about their lives and try to talk them through some of their problems. All the while enjoying a soundtrack full of soothing lo-fi beats. Delicious. New Grave, The Witch and the Curse, is a 2D Metroidvania where you journey alongside a cursed hat. And no, it's not that fedora that you never should have bought back in 2012. In this witchy adventure, your hexed headwear lets you possess enemies and take advantage of their abilities, opening up all sorts of combat possibilities. And if they do get the best of you in battle, you can return to your village to cook up some empowering new recipes, adding a nice roguelite game loop to the whole affair. Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse also features 4-way multiplayer, so plan your next coven gathering for March 5th. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you actually can. Fatal Frame fans have been bugging the developers for a remake of the second game for a while, and on March 12th, that's exactly what they're getting. The iconic horror game, which stars a pair of snap-happy sisters trapped in a haunted village, has been totally remade, with everything from the visuals and audio to the most fundamental gameplay mechanics being given a complete overhaul. Plus, they even threw in an extra mechanic that lets you hold hands with your sister. Aww. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is like playing through an 80s action movie, complete with wisecracking dialogue and bombastic set pieces, not to mention a killer soundtrack. This 4-player FPS has players taking up arms against almighty sludge god and his undead army. There's a ragtag group of playable characters to pick from, each with their own special abilities and skill trees, plus loads of different weapons to pick up and upgrade. And the end result is a game that's just brimming with splattery possibilities. So if you and your buddies are looking to do some old school ass kicking, look out for John Carpenter's Toxic Commando on March 12th. Sad Cat Studios have been working on their pixel art masterpiece for many a year, and Replaced is now ready to burst onto Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on March 12th. At which point, maybe they'll be Happy Cat Studios, hopefully. This stunning actioner takes place in a dystopian version of the 80s, with the player taking control of an AI stuck in a human body. And it's a good thing you've got those fleshy fists, because the combat here is fast and furious. Kind of like a 2.5D version of the Arkham games. Long story short, Replaced looks like it will be very much worth the wait. And on that topic, what game did you spend the most time anticipating? And did it live up to the hype? Maybe you're still waiting for it. Hit the comments to let me know. We're buckling up for a top-down adventure on March 12th with Road Out. This neat genre mashup combines the dungeon crawling of an old-school action RPG with twin-stick combat and high-speed racing. It takes place inside an artificial biome known as the Dead Zone, the only livable place left in a ruined world. If you don't want the zone to be a little bit deader, you'll need to do whatever it takes to survive. Joining gangs, battling bad guys, bartering with merchants, and riding around in your incredibly dope car. Both it and you can be upgraded in all sorts of ways, meaning you'll get plenty of mileage out of Road Out. If you're a gentle soul who'd rather befriend monsters than hunt them, then boy do I have a game for you. It's called Monster Befriender. Oh, no wait, I think I'm thinking of Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry. This turn-based RPG lets you raise your very own monsties up from an egg and into a big toothy buddy. They'll fight alongside you, allowing for all sorts of combat combinations and clever pincer movements. And some of these guys do actually have pincers too. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection will be here on March 13th. And if you're just itching to know how this story began, the first two games are also now available on Xbox. There are open world games, and then there are open world games. And Crimson Desert belongs in the second category. Wait, that was a bigger one, right? The point is, this ginormous action RPG boasts a fantasy world that's more than twice as big as Skyrim's. And that place was not small. Have you tried walking from Mortal to Riften? Long. Finding your own place in this sprawling land is going to be a lot of fun too, because there are so many options. You can forge your own fighting style by combining weapons and enchantments, and decide whether to travel by foot, boat, wolf, or dragon. Or you can just scramble up the side of a cliff and yeet yourself into the air. Basically, Crimson Desert is a big game in every sense, and it'll be here on March 19th, the biggest date of the year. The most dangerous mouse since Danger Mouse, Jack Pepper is a private investigator and the star of Mouse PI for Hire. Like Cuphead, Mouse takes inspiration from old-timey cartoons, then throws a bit of gumshoe style into the mix to create a really unique visual style. It's a first-person shooter where players will be investigating the seedy underbelly of Mouseburg, uncovering new dangers at every turn and sending them packing using an array of classic cartoon weapons and power-ups. I'm talking sticks of dynamite, cans of spinach, the whole works. Basically, Mouse PI for Hire is like Columbo by way of Tom and Jerry, and it will be released on March 19th. Told you it was a big date. How about an unexpected return of a cult classic that no doubt will be pulling heartstrings and pushing our nerves to the absolute brink? Huh? Max and Chloe have got one last chance to find a future together, and it's up to you to guide them on their journey in Life is Strange Reunion. You'll be playing as both characters in the conclusion to Max and Chloe's story that sounds like it could have some pretty dire consequences for everybody involved. An inferno is looming that Max and Chloe must find a way to stop to save their friends at Caledon University. Who survives? I don't know, depends how you're feeling, I guess. Heartbreak and millennial slang awaits when Life is Strange Reunion hits Xbox on March 26th. One that you might have missed, our favourite game about tiny teens and big bugs is dropping its latest game update on January 27th. The Toxic Tangle update is bringing a new ladybug buggy, new weapons, armour, and a very chic woolly aphid. We're going to unpack everything we find in our next video, so keep your peepers pointed firmly at your subfeed to get the latest scoop when it drops. For a closer look at some of these great games and others, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Jack Pepper on the case.